represented, there's always the scales of justice there. Quite often outside court, you will see Libra represented, and she often has a blindfold across her eyes, which is supposed to indicate that justice in a way is blind, that there is no kind of human force within that it's almost like that it's about the creation trying to get back into equilibrium, and we're just the conduits, we're just the vessels for that. So although she's ruled by Venus, Libra is actually a masculine sign, so it kind of inherent within Libra is this feeling of having to balance the masculine and the feminine energies of the universe. Opposite sign is Aries. So whereas Aries is all about the singular, is all about the I am, is all about a very kind of forceful, direct, almost selfish presence. And I mean that in the academic sense, I suppose. I'm an Aries, so I'm not saying that Aries are selfish, although they can be. Libra is the opposite of that. And Libra is about kind of balancing that energy out. And trying to look, instead of like at singleness, looking at the energy of everybody and trying to kind of balance out relationships. So I already spoke about the full moon that actually happened in the wee hours of this morning, but as you know, full moons, their energy just kind of ripples out through the month anyway. So this is very much a full moon day. But I just feel that this moon was, let me just see whether I can actually show you the chart again. I think I've already gone over this once, so I don't want to be too reiterative. But there's a lot of tension around this lunation, and the tension comes from the fact that with any full moon, you always get the moon opposite the sun. And so that Libran moon at 18 degrees of Libra was forming what's known as a T-square with Pluto, with Jupiter. Now, a T-square in astrology is a point of extreme tension that has to be resolved. So wherever this is in your chart, it shows you that there is this kind of pull that needs sorting out. Now, I'll give a couple of examples of that in a minute. Now, 6 months ago, we had the Libra new moon on the 28th of September. And a new moon is when the sun is right next to, or what we call conjunct the moon. So that is when the energy of today was seeded. So if you look back in your diary, whatever you were doing around the end of September has a big impact on what is happening 6 months down the line. And there's a few things in this that I think are really interesting to today. It doesn't matter where this is in your chart, it's always about in some way either relationships, as in direct intimate relationships, or relationships with family members or colleagues, or it could be something contractual and legal, which is also what Libra represents. So have a think back to what was going on. But the point is that that new moon back in September was opposite Neptune in Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces, so Neptune is very strong at the moment. And the problem with that is there would have been a lot of confusion around whatever issue was brought up for you at that new moon. You wouldn't have been able to see something clearly. And also it formed again another T-square with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter was in Sagittarius at that time, but nonetheless, Jupiter was also a key player. So Jupiter was really strong. So whatever happened then was expanded. It was just a time of, which way do I go? Who do I want in my life? I feel that something big is coming down the tracks, and that would have been 2020. We would have all felt that intuitively. So what projects do I want to carry forward? etc., etc. Am I in the right house? Am I in the right office space? All this would have been kind of up for negotiation, probably for you in one way, shape or form around that time. And also there would have been some kind of erratic events around that new moon, because it also formed a very what we call an inconjunct or quincunx to Uranus there as well in Taurus at the time. So there was a financial implication to the decisions you made at that time. So rolling on to today, we get that turning point where we now can see things a bit clearer. And obviously, because the scales have fallen from our eyes with everything that's happened over the last 3 months, and we're now having to make decisions based on this new information. And now, so where before 6 months ago, we're all kind of like, oh, you know, just in the wilderness and not clear about where we wanted to go. Now we're kind of laser focused, but there's problems. And the problem is that Jupiter, who is a clear player in this lunation, is now in a very weakened state, not only conjunct Pluto, who is all about power and how we use power and how we want to use our personal power going forward, but Jupiter does not like being in the sign of Capricorn. So being in Capricorn, now not in Saggy, he's weak. So it's almost like there's some kind of power battle going on at the moment, is somewhere in your life, but the chance for opportunity, the chance for growth doesn't feel that clear at the moment. And we're having to now reassess who the key players are going to be going forward. Almost like, you know, what tribe do we want with us? What people, you know, in this devastating situation we now find ourselves in, are going to be beneficial for us going forward. And so it all feels very magnified, very intense at the moment, very dramatic. And I will just illustrate this because I'm keeping a very close eye on all the key players at the moment. And I'll just try and, I think I've got the chart. Have I got it? No, I haven't. Oh, I thought I did have. I was looking at the chart of the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak.
Right.
And his chart that's taking place today actually shows that this moon, this lunation, is happening right on his Pluto. Right. And more than that, it's actually opposing his natal moon.
Right.
So I don't want to get too jargonistic about it. What I will kind of say about his chart is that he is caught up. Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Have you seen him? Yeah. He is caught up in some very malefic power plays at the moment behind the scenes. And those are going to intensify, looking at the aspects that this full moon today hitting his Pluto and then tracking forward to his birthday, which is May the 12th. Between now and May the 12th, I think we're going to see some interesting stuff emerging from government based on finances that he is butting up against. He's because Pluto is power, and it's how we use power or how we misuse power, and the way that it's configuring for him at the moment. I would suggest that he's surrounded by people who are very kind of nefarious, and it's almost like he's had his own epiphany. He's taken this post very recently, and look what he's stepped into. He didn't have a clue what he was walking into, not a clue. And he's stepped into this, And now he's having to fight his own sense of morals, based on the fact that the penny has dropped for him about the people around him. And that is the full moon in Libra, where we kind of look at people, and because everything seems so more focused and more and clearer now, we're having to evaluate people on whether they are playing fair, whether they will continue to play fair with us, whether they're going to support us over the next few months. And what, you know, because every relationship is an exchange, isn't it? What we can do for them, what they can do for us. So watch that guy, because I'm looking at his chart, which was incredibly intense.
What house was that falling in? What house was it all falling in for in the Pluto?
I don't have his birth time, so I don't. So I was only looking at the transpersonal and outer planets. But I would suspect it's his 10th house.
Yeah.
And I would say that, you know, between now and possibly mid-May, you know, there will be a lot going on and possibly news announcements. I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of COVIDed, you know, that all of a sudden he's in self-isolation or whatever. I'm not saying there's any health aspects in his chart. I just think he's butting up against people. But he's, because Pluto and Saturn was involved with this as well, are, you know, together are fear. They create fear. And I think he's afraid at the moment, which is quite interesting. But then I don't want to be kind of libelous, but that's kind of what I'm seeing in his chart. So yeah, any questions? Yeah, so the full moon, it's about the relationships we have. It's about the power balance of those relationships. And we're all having to revise our relationships and our contracts with other people at the moment, in a lot of ways, because it's almost like it's become key to very key, very big life changes that we're all going to have to face over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Jade. If you've got any comments, girls, or if you've got any questions for Nicola, please put them here and I'll relay them to her. So, Nicola, I've been, you know, going to Nicola for a couple of years now, and Nicola really sparked my passion for astrology. It's just my hobby. I'm just very passionate about it. Nicola's, I would consider her an expert in it. So if you have any questions for her, please let me know. But what's really, really interesting, and the reason why I was so fascinated in astrology is because you can almost see your psyche spilled out in front of you, and you can see your own patterns. Even, you know, sometimes you can see your birth. For me, you can see my childhood trauma is written in my chart, and for me that was just so fascinating. But I remember you telling me, Etta, about Uranus entering Taurus, and not long after that, I mean, I don't know what you would consider not long, but the world started to have earthquakes. Obviously, Australia's been hit. There were major floods, and Uranus in Taurus is changing that earth. It's picked it up and it's given the blanket a shake of the earth.
I mean, that's right, because I mean, Taurus is a lot of things. I mean, any earth sign relates to the earth. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn are very much about the earth. They're also about the body, by the way. So anybody who you know, is Taurus rising like I am, they'll be going through a lot of changes at the moment physically with this aspect. But Uranus normally takes about, give or take, 7 years to track through a sign. So we're only at the start of this Uranus in Taurus. Here's Uranus down here, this Uranus in Taurus energy. And collectively, this is going to have huge ramifications on the financial markets. I mean, that's obvious now, but we've been saying it for the past few years. You know, wait till Uranus gets into Taurus. We'll never see it again in our lifetimes because of the length of time he takes to track around the horoscopic wheel. But he is making some very strong aspects to where the Saturn-Pluto conjunction of early January took place. And so he's working in two ways. He's working in you know, because he tends rather like Pluto, and he's feeding energy into Pluto at the moment, that there is an energy of kind of like pulling back the curtain. I was listening to somebody talk about the whole kind of system that we have has been very much like the Wizard of Oz, where you know, that scene in it where the, you know, the curtain's pulled back and there's just an old guy pulling the levers behind the curtain. And at the moment, we are seeing the old guy behind the curtain pulling the levers, very, very much. And we're kind of, you know, I don't, you know, whatever your feelings on what is going on with this whole pandemic at the moment, it's becoming very, very clear that you know, in some ways, something is being orchestrated around it. So whether people just, or, you know, governments, because Saturn in Capricorn, which we've had, although he's now in Aquarius, but Saturn in Capricorn, you know, is very much about top-down power. And in Aquarius, top-down power over the people, which I've said before. So I don't know whether, you know, it's accident or design. I've got my own very strong views on that. But what we're seeing now is things being promoted, which governments have tried to promote before, like the carrying of ID cards and digital IDs and things like this, which would never in any other circumstance, where there wasn't fear, Saturn, you know, be allowed to go through. And all this, you know, if you're living in London, you know, and all this stuff about facial recognition and etc., etc. So this is what we're seeing. And what Uranus is doing, he's acting in a twofold way. He's acting to cause disruption in the financial markets, because Taurus is all about security and our belongings and things and the materialism. But he's also awakening us to who really holds the power balance in this world. And we have a chance to either work with that energy and kind of almost like not be afraid and kind of let go of our need for this, this and this. I mean, it's funny, I was reading a post on Facebook earlier today about what don't you miss about things that you had 4 weeks ago. You know, so you know, were you going out for regular manicures, or were you know, what can you learn to live without? And that is very much Uranus and Taurus is kind of shaking those foundations, and he will continue to do so for another 6 years. Now, the fact that he's squaring that Pluto energy on this full moon day means that we have a choice, and I spoke about this about the new moon as well, about which way we use this energy. And this is going to become increasingly clear, because as he gathers in momentum and moves through Taurus, I would say in the latter part of the year, and I don't want to scare anybody, so I'm kind of trying to hold back, you know, there's opportunity wrapped in this as well. We're going to see incredible changes to the financial markets, the like of which we've never lived through before. It will make 2008 look like an absolute picnic.
Yeah, heard that. And it's I don't know for sure, but I think the monetary system in, where was it, Korea, maybe, I can't think now where I heard it, has completely changed. There is no more cash. It's, it's all online, on your phone, banking, everything. And I guess this is where, Aquarius comes into its own. Everybody says the new age of Aquarius, and that is all about technological advancement. Part of me believes that we are having this up level of we are having this up level of technology. That's nothing new. It's been coming. The advancements are coming on so thick and fast. It's almost like, if your physical body cannot sustain this upgrade of technology, then you're out the game, basically. This is, I guess, and then we've got the Saturn, and the Saturn in Aquarius. So, which way do we look at that? Aquarius is for the higher form of Aquarius, I guess, is for the people, for humanity, for technology, but good for all. And Saturn can come in and restrict it and control it, but maybe give it some law, some order.
This is what I mean about the importance of Pluto at the moment. It's power for good or it's power for bad. And because this I think one thing that we've all realized is that the world is a very small place. We're all having this collective experience, and that is Aquarius. Aquarius is our collective experience. And so what the moves that we make, certainly over the next few months, are going to be so key as to how these, for example, technologies are used. Now, with Saturn there, yes, he gives structure. I mean, he is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So, he's very comfortable there again. He's got a lot of power at the moment. He's there for another couple of years. So we better get used to this. So he can give structure, but he can also be misused as well, because wherever Saturn is certainly in our natal charts is where we experience the key karmic tests. He is known as the Lord of Karma. So the key karmic tests, restrictions that we have to learn how to work through. And I think as a collective, it's either that we it's either that we come together and use technology for good, or we allow it to be used over us for bad. And I don't happen to think that the structures that are being put in place over the people at the moment are particularly a healthy thing. And I'm not just talking about lockdowns that will go on forever, and I'm talking about things like facial recognition technology and the doing away of cash. And digital currencies, because I think, when we think about those things logically, they can be used by Saturnian powers in a very kind of disingenuous way. And when we look at China, for example, people there are on a system of social credits. So it's largely now a cashless society. And if people don't do certain things, like they drop litter, or they don't pay bills, or they get into debt, then they are switched off in a way. They're not allowed to travel. They're not allowed even to get on a train or a bus. Right.
Yeah.
Because they,
like a reward system. It's like a reward system.
It's
like being good. Star chart.
It's like 1984 on steroids. So I think we need to be very, very present. And the thing is, I know that there'll be a lot of very empathic people watching. And I mean, everyone's empathic. It's just that, some people are more kind of switched on than others. And I think at the moment, I mean, I've certainly been struggling with this. We're taking on that collective energy of fear, and we've got to find ways to be able to manage that over the next few months, you know, because there is this kind of fear porn, if you like, that's been streamed at us through the media. You know, all this, you know, body counts and showing us big mortuaries being built and all of this lot. You know, it really goes straight into our limbic system, our primordial fear system, and it makes us high on adrenaline all the time. So we're wired. And, you know, and the other thing is, what is Uranus? Uranus is that electrical wired feeling. So there's lots of that energy around at the moment where we're just kind of being hyper vigilant, and we watch the TV and we're looking for the signs, and then we're, you know, then we're going up one minute, there's a little bit of hope, and then down the next. And, you know, we need to be able to take control, and I think that's where the Saturn influence is for us on a personal level, and put our own structures in place within this new reality. And by the way, I'm very passionate about not getting used to this new terminology, this new Saturnian terminology that we're all hearing about the new world. And I've got pop-ups, I've got news pop-ups coming up on my screen as we speak, death tolls and things like that. The new world, social distancing. I mean, social distancing is Saturn in Aquarius.
Yeah.
You know, you know, the new normal, you know, that we're being told that this is the new normal.
Yeah.
There's nothing normal about this situation. It's like we all went to sleep 4 weeks ago and woke up in this upside down world.
Yeah.
This strange dystopia. So, you know, don't be programmed, don't be hypnotized into thinking that this is normal, that staying away from people is normal. It's not. It's not.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because kids can quite easily get programmed quite quickly. And, you know, I see it in my daughter, you know, already, because you're trying to, obviously she's hearing things, so she's understanding things, but we don't want that to be her programming, I guess. But just relating back to Aquarius and Saturn and the tarot. So Aquarius, am I right in thinking, is the star card,
the star.
and Saturn is the devil card. So if we think of those two symbolism next to each other, you've got the star card, which is all about renewal, faith, healing. And then you've got the devil card. But I guess on the devil card as well, we can say it's the imprisoned human beings, but little do they know that they're not really imprisoned. It's the fear that's controlling them. So it's almost like a juxtaposition there, isn't it? And it's understanding that outside of ourselves, our environment can be controlled. There are limitations. We've got boundaries. But internally, we don't have that limitation if we allow it. What do you think about Chiron in Aries? I know it's not making any aspects, but is that even a discussion or not really?
Well, Chiron is our wounded part, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit of a cliche. We call him the wounded healer. Very linked to Saturn. If I went into the mythology, which I won't bore you with, but I think it's very, very relevant that Chiron is in Aries at the moment, because Aries, very like Aquarius, is all about action. It's all about freedom. It's about, you know, our kind of impulsive way that we do things. And that is completely being restricted at the moment. So we're all having to stop. We're all having to stay still. And it forces us, like you just said, instead of externalizing everything and just run, it makes us go inwards. And that's what we all have to do at the moment. The answers are not out there. No one's coming along on a white charger to save us. It's all about the inner journey and where and controlling our own reactions to things, because fear is a reaction of projection of what's coming round the corner. It's not the reality right now. The reality right now is we're probably all fairly comfortable, certainly in you know, for a lot of households. Well, I'm not saying everybody. I mean, some of the things that are going on at the moment are horrific. But you know, if we have food, if we have you know, 4 walls and a roof, you know, think of people in other parts of the world who don't have those things, who are going through the same experience. You know, so it's being grateful for what we do have, and none of us knows really how this is going to turn out. But there's a huge lesson, I think, for us at the moment about going inwards and realizing our spiritual self, as you say, the star, the Aquarius side of this, and thinking how we can use that to transmute what's happening in the outside world. Because, you know, as the Emerald Tablets of Thoth said, as above, so below, as without, so within. So whatever happens inside happens outside, and we need to wake up, and this is what Aquarius is doing, lumming fast, and realize how deeply, profoundly powerful we are, and how our thoughts can actually change the outcome of what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask the ladies who are watching, how do you feel that this moon, you know, new full moon, super moon,
is getting dark. Let me just stick the light on.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the dark.
Is disappearing into the dark.
Tell me, just throw some things out there, because it's affecting us all differently. And what is it bringing up for you internally? Externally, yeah, I'm sure we've all got the same kind of similarities going on. But internally, what is this bringing up for you? For me, I believe this is just holding a mirror up to the soul. And I do believe what our reality is a reflection of the reality within. And the only point of change that you've got, and you know, we all know mass meditation works, absolutely. But the only control that you've got is absolutely bringing awareness into what is not quite right in your internal and external environment personally.
Absolutely.
So I'm hearing so many people, and it makes me laugh because I get it. They just cannot cope with being with their own thoughts. Like, they haven't had to do this before. You know, a friend of mine was like, I'm just questioning everything about my life. I'm dissecting it, and I can't cope. She's like going insane with it. And I get that. I understand that. And in my own life, I am having to address my default escapism behavior, because my escape is work. That's what I escape to. But even right now with this supermoon, because it falls in my 4th house, which is all about the foundations, the home, the soul kind of thing, I'm questioning, where's my place? Like, what am I here to serve? How am I even serving anybody right now? I'm questioning all of that. And then I'm looking at my little girl and saying, this is what you need to address. This here, your home, her, you. Like, how are you making this? How are you bringing forth the potential of this situation? You cannot escape anymore, Anne-Marie. Focus on what needs to be focused on. That's what's coming up for me.
It's funny because there's so many. I mean, I've been involved in this kind of, I suppose, the spiritual world, or the spiritual industry, I suppose, for you know, a good 3 decades now, you know, professionally. And you know, it's very strange, I think, for us, kind of, for those of us who set out as, you know, I suppose in a way, thought leaders and teachers and this kind of thing. And now we're having to face our own shit. And it's kind of, you know, it's like, all right, okay, you know, where are we? What is our role? And I was saying to everyone last year, who I was reading for, who works in this field in some way, whether you're a healer or a teacher or you know, psychic or whatever, I was saying, learn your stuff because you're going to need it in 2020. Learn your stuff because there is no time now for just skimming. It's kind of time to step up to what we came here for. And
that's so true.
It's
That's
massive.
So,
and
yeah.
you know, and you know, it'd be interesting to hear your take on the virus, that you know, and the whole kind of, you know, feelings around that and what it's here to teach us. Because, you know, what is a virus? It's an invader, isn't it? It invades our system. And so what is Saturn? Saturn is boundaries. It's kind of, I mean, when you look at the astrology of the body, Saturn is, it's not only our musculoskeletal system and our teeth. By the way, lots of people having achy joints, problems with teeth at the moment, all this, you know, Saturn rules all of that. But he also rules our skin, the biggest organ of the body. And so he acts as a barrier between the outside world and our inner world. And that's potentially being invaded at the moment.
Well, let me ask you this, but first of all, I'll just read some of the girls' answers. So Teresa's saying she's felt fear this afternoon. Lisa says she's questioning everything. Teresa said something she wished she hadn't, with the best of intentions, a couple of hours ago, and now she's feeling the fear. She's going to work to release it. So yeah, I mean, Libra, balance, but also what's happening with Mars at the minute? And
Mars is also in Aquarius, which is interesting.
So Mars will make you kind of act out, speak out, and just with what she's saying, Teresa's saying that Mars can prompt you forward. So it just depends, obviously, how you're being triggered personally. So one of the girls, I think Maria has got so many placements in Libra. She's got Moon, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, MC. Angela's got Uranus in Libra. Michelle's got Sun in Libra. And we've all got Libra in our chart. It just depends how it's being triggered.
Absolutely. And you often find people with a lot of Libra placements, or they're a Libra Sun or they're a Libra Moon. They're people pleasers, you know, because when you've got strong placements in Libra, or you're a Libra Sun or a Libra Moon or whatever, or Ascendant or whatever, you're always kind of projecting yourself onto other people. Relationships are so important for these people, and having very equitable relationships. But what often happens with a lot of Libras, and this has definitely happened with a lot of my Libra clients over the last 3 years, is that there is always such drama and intensity and life lessons that, you know, that, I mean, that you can say that for anybody. But for Libras, it's always intense, because what they do is they try to balance everything out. And then they enter into scenarios. They often, people with strong Libra, they often attract scenarios to them that throw them out of balance completely. And they've had to face that over the last 3 years. So for signs like Libra, going through an experience like this that they can't control is just anathema to them, that they can't balance, is, you know, is anathema, that they can't balance in an external sense. And so it comes back to what you were saying, Anne-Marie, about having to find that point inside of us. And that is going to be tested and tested and tested again over the next 2 years.
Oh, joy to the world.
I know. I mean, just remember, everyone who's listening to this, you know, we signed up to be here right now. I honestly believe that we signed up for this. It's almost like however long you've been on the planet, you've been practicing for this time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Angela's saying, yeah, she's a reformed people pleaser. Mariah's saying the lady with all the planets. Yes, so true. I'm guilty of people pleasing. That yes, Nicola is right on target. Congratulations, Angela. You got a job. Well done for design technology teacher. Amazing. So that's everything we've just been talking about with the Aquarius. Mariah's saying she's felt feelings of confusion. They just came out of a very.
I think I've got Mariah's chart. Hold on, which one? No, this is actually Lily's chart. I have got Mariah's chart, but I just pulled them off a page just before this. But interestingly, Lily Lamour, great name, has got Pluto in Libra. So, and what degree was Pluto at? Yeah, 15 degrees 38. So this full moon would have been practically on top of that Pluto placement. And also, for any astrologers in this group, trining her natal moon as well. So in Aquarius.
Well, funnily enough, she wanted to be here tonight. I don't know if she's made it because her mum needed some help with something, bless her. So,
well, the moon means so many things in the chart, but one of them is the divine feminine and is also the mother.
Yes.
And I won't go into this too much if she's not here at the moment, because that's unfair kind of talking about this, but hopefully she'll pick this up on the replay.
Yeah, she will.
This full moon would have been incredibly intense for this lady, and a lot to sort out, because it was also hitting her sun as well. I haven't gone into this chart fully. I think it was also hitting her ascendant. So I mean, lots of big life changes coming in. And because this is 9th house, there's lots of stuff that's kind of like higher philosophical. She's going through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And she on a kind of a philosophical level.
Yeah.
And that she would find very, very difficult to cope with at this moon. So just know that now that that energy is separating, this first part of the week going up to Friday is intense. It gets a little bit better towards the weekend. And Mariah also was, look at this as well, the two people who posted the charts an hour ago, is also Pluto in Libra. So Pluto in Libra people have intense relationship experiences.
Yes, I'm Pluto
in terms of life and death relationship experiences.
Yeah, that's right. So it's generational, isn't it? So there'll be all our age, seven, there'll be a window. I'm 77. I don't know what the window is. Maybe, is it 8 years, 10 years or something for?
I don't know when Pluto moved out of Libra. I'd have to look at that. I think it might have been 86. I'd have to double down and check that. But look at this as well, conjunct Saturn. Yeah. So the Pluto Saturn conjunct, I mean, this is intensity. So for both of these people who posted their charts, both Mariah and Lily, this moon, and what degrees her Pluto at 26? So this would have been right on Mariah's Saturn. So the moon conjunct Saturn always brings just this feeling of, just because the moon is your emotions, it's how you receive and emit emotions. And when it's next to Saturn, you just feel kind of like hopeless.
And funny, with the Libra, Pluto and Libra generation, now I have it, but I also have, it's quite near my North Node as well, which is your destiny point. Now, with the Pluto and Libra generation, we're here to transmute our relationship karma, which has been passed down through the ancestral line. So, a lot of the work that I do is about helping people with their childhood beliefs and reframing them so we don't pass them down to our forward generation.
Absolutely. And how is this playing out? It's playing out with not only on this personal level, but in a collective sense as well.
Yeah.
And when you look at Mariah's chart, her, you know, her Pluto is right on a very important angle called the MC. So Mariah, you are here to transform the collective in a very visible way, in a very, you know, all eyes are on you to heal relationships. And this will be a lot of your role going forward as we move through this and move through this crisis. You know, so there's a lot of, and the fact that it happened on Saturn as well for Mariah, I mean, Saturn is karma. So her karma is being activated at this full moon. And we've all been kind of scrabbling around going, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? You know,
Yeah.
have I got enough cans of beans in the cupboard and enough bog roll, you know? But
Yeah.
now it's kind of, certainly from Saturday, when Mercury moves into Aries as well, it's going to broaden out into, you know, okay, what can I do practically now?
Yeah. Yeah.
What practical steps am I going to take, and what role am I going to play in this?
Can Saturn also represent the father as well, possibly?
I mean, the Saturn does represent, you know,
Yeah.
it is a very masculine authority, which is why it's this
Yeah.
kind of top-down
Yeah, so see if you
authority.
can relate to that, Mariah, with the Saturn energy, could be the father or the father archetype, which is the masculine energy. And with that being in Libra, which is a very feminine energy, there can be the polarities there, and especially having to maybe work even harder to bring about balance. But you could absolutely be a change maker if that's what you chose to do, because it's in your house of career where you will be seen.
It's in the ninth. I know these charts are hard to read. It's in the ninth.
Okay, so that's higher learning philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Question I had. I work a lot with the chakras system, as you know, and I really love the Kabbalah system as well. But what would you say, what chakra would you say Saturn related to?
I would definitely say it's the root.
Yeah, that's my feeling. I think in
I
the
would definitely
Kabbalah
say,
system,
because the root affects everything.
yeah, because that's the nervous system, and the root is where, let's say, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's the first survival instinct. I talked about this on a post where we are now just life or death. People are literally in life or death. Where would you say Pluto was then? Would you say that was it's more kind of the soul Pluto?
Well, yes. I mean, it definitely. I would align Pluto to the soul, to the world soul as well. And so, you know, you're talking. I would, if you're placing Pluto on the chakras, you're talking like the highest chakra, the transformational energy. You know, because the higher octaves of Pluto, Scorpio, because Pluto obviously rules Scorpio. You know, the eagle is this higher spiritual transformation and release.
Would you say, because I know if we were looking at the Kabbalah system now, Pluto is the art, isn't it? The hidden power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that Pluto is almost like it's hidden, isn't it? It's unseen, but it's available to us. It's this, and the Kabbalah system is like it represents the tree of life, and they're like flashes of spiritual light that give birth to the human existence. And Pluto is this like the hidden Sephiro, if you like, the hidden flash of light. And when you uncover that Sephiro, because it's like 10 spheres, when you uncover Pluto, it's like the hidden knowledge, isn't it, behind it all, that can help us ascend, if you like.
But you know who sits on that pathway, don't you, between Ketha and you know, and it's the high priestess.
Yeah.
So it is about kind of, you know, who sits in front of a veil. So it is about making the hidden apparent. But yeah, I mean, Pluto absolutely works on a very kind of hidden level. You know, as Lord of the Underworld, you know, he drags us down into the hidden realms in order to go through these transformational processes. And it's almost like, you know, you lose yourself. You've got to strip layers of yourself off in order to, I mean, wasn't it the Hopi who said of this time, they said of 2020, that you need to, it'd be like being in a torrent, in a river, and you need to let go of the sides and allow yourself to be dragged into the middle where you'll find your tribe. You know, so what they're saying is, and that's loosening those veils of what we believe to be true about ourselves and the world, and just trusting that on the other side of it, we're going to be in the middle of the river and we're going to be carried along and we're going to be okay. But first you've got to loosen your grip off the sides. And that's what we're going through, that loosening process at the moment, where we're kind of realizing that actually on the other side of this, life is going to look very different.
Absolutely. Couple of girls saying, Angela, yeah, we've got you as Libra and your Uranus, as you posted your chart. She's felt low today, tired energy. Teresa, you posted your chart. I don't think I've seen your chart. If you can have a quick look and just quickly tell us where Libra is. Libra is this, the little, and you'll see the opposition of the moon and the sun. And I can have a little look for you as well. So what was I going to say? I can't remember. Let's see if I can show you the soul plan.
Let me share. Yeah.
That's just one thing that I was just going to say. With that Pluto, all the people, I don't know what you feel about this, but if we're talking on those like Kabbalistic levels about the hidden power, if we were to look at where our Pluto was, for me, it's in Libra, and we've all got this set generational Pluto. Have a look at where that is, because and think about how you can work with the power of Pluto right now in your natal chart to uncover your hidden power. So mine's in Libra. It's in the 4th house of home. It's probably the thing that is nudging me. Yeah, you need to go here, because that's where my pain is. That's where your Pluto, death, transformation, trauma, pain, but it's also about rebirth, reawakening, regeneration. So have a look at that. It's probably where your pain is too, but that might
be your superpower is.
Yeah, your hidden power. So let's have a look at let's see if I can do it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. So this is the soul plan. Oh shit, I put the wrong name in. Hang on. 1 second. I've spelt it wrong. So. Okay, so this is the soul plan, the energies that COVID-19 is bringing in. So the foundations are 9-9, which is all about power. It's all about imbalances of power. It's the serpent. It's definitely, obviously, we are feeling, and the celestial body that governs it is Leo, so the sun. And yeah, it's affecting us. So this is about not resisting the power, finding your own level of equilibrium, Libra, I guess, balance. The abilities are 11-2. So that is all about resilience. It's all about creating something tangible. It's the builder energy as well. It's the counselor, it's the support worker. It's anything that gives people a sense of support. So it could be a spiritual book or something. And then the success here is all about communication. Now, that's obviously, it's interesting because this is the successful outcome of it, is communication. So let's see how this is going to play out. And this is
some very esoteric numbers there.
Yeah.
You know, these are all Masonic numbers.
Right.
You know, these are all master numbers. 33 is the high number of the Freemasons. So this would not have been done arbitrarily. 11 is a power number as well. 9 is the highest spiritual number. You know, we'll talk about the power of 3. 3 times 3 is there's some high magic in this number.
Yeah, the version of the 3 is to become a vehicle of pure expression at a profound level. So, yeah.
This is no coincidence.
Yeah. So I'll just say, do you want to finish on anything, Nicola? I think the girls have really loved it.
No, I mean, all I would say, I mean, this is, you know, it's been an interesting kind of sojourn into this. All I would say to people is, I mean, what do you make of this diagram, by the way? You just, I mean, how do you read success and how?
Yeah, this is the soul plan readings. We've done it on a business name, not on a human name. You get a completely different looking chart. You get a 6-pointed chart, the Star of David, but on a business name, because obviously it's not working on a human existence. It comes out like this. So if this was a business, we'd be looking at the highest potential. The highest potential is it's a channel, even 9 to the channel, bring down that higher wisdom, but it's definitely about the peacemaker, the power, protector of the people. 11-2, it's tangible, building something physical, it's supportive, counseling, nurturing, it's resilient. And 3 is it's going to communicate to a wide audience. That's
the other thing, you know, you could say that you could put a different spin on that, in that it's going to be successful. Do you know what I mean? So it's built on strong foundations, it's going to be successful, and it's got good communicative ability.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is, when you study astrology, it gives you a real sense. I mean, we all knew that something, we've been talking about it for years. I've certainly been talking about 2020 for at least the last 4 years. We knew it was coming, we could see this we didn't know what it was, how it was going to express, but we knew that something was coming. And so it's deeply esoteric and occult in a way, but also it gives you that kind of feeling of there is a plan, there is a bigger plan, there is a rhyme and a reason and a harmony and a sense to everything that is happening at the moment. And in that sense, I think that gives me comfort that, you know, even though it's horrific, and there's, I mean, Pluto always brings death. You know, that's one of the you know, when you get Saturn Pluto, you know, conjoined, and you know, we have the Black Death on a Saturn Pluto conjunction, you know, and whenever you do get these horrific events, but there is a plan behind this. And that's not negating the horror of what is going on, but knowing that there is a plan in some way, shape or form gives me some comfort. Because, you know, as people are saying, like Teresa is saying, you know, on the chat, and you know, that she went into fear this afternoon, you know, we have got to learn skills now to kind of drag that fear back to the center, because emotion creates reality.
It does.
And so if you're in fear and you allow that to get out of control, you're going to experience it tomorrow. You know, so that's what I would say, is that, you know, I think what you're doing, Anne-Marie, is really good through this you know, page. If you know, if you can find ways to all come together, and this is what I'm doing in my group as well, or I'm going to be doing, you know, find ways to kind of conquer that fear in a very practical way, whether that's breathing exercises or you know, things that we take. Lemon balm is great for fear, you know, working with plants, working with natural things, or meditation to bring yourself back into yourself, because nobody owns your spirit. Nobody controls yourself.
Yeah. Just look at Viktor Frankl, you know, the work of Viktor Frankl, you know.
Exactly. Very profound for these times. Exactly.
Oh, it's been so cool. After Nicola, we will do this again, and yeah, the girls have loved it. So I'll put a link to where they can find you if they want personal readings with you as well. Okay,
that's great, thank you, and I'm sure we will talk again.
We will. Take care. Bye, girls.
All right, bye.
Bye.